Hey there, my name is Andrew, and in this video I wanted to show you how to connect a subdomain name through Cloudflare with your ClickFunnels account. You might want to use a subdomain for multiple reasons. The most important of them is when you already have a website running on the main domain name. Let's say you have a domain of chocolate.com. If you already have a website with Shopify that runs chocolate.com and you want to connect this chocolate.com URL with ClickFunnels, it is going to break your existing website on Shopify. And it works the same way with any party. So wherever you have the main domain, if you connect it to another party, it is going to be lost. So I don't want to recommend you do that. So in this situation, if you have, for example, big expectations about your next websites and you just want to spare the main domain name, or you already have a website on the main domain name, you might want to use the subdomain. An example of subdomain is whenever something comes before the domain name of yours. So with ClickFunnels.com, you can see that app comes before it. An app is a subdomain. The first that comes to my mind is drive.google.com. Google.com is the domain, and Drive, when you go to Google Drive, is the subdomain. So this video is how you add a subdomain name to ClickFunnels through Cloudflare. For that, you will need a domain purchased with any domain register. So you can purchase it with GoDaddy, Namecheap, Bluehost, whatever, and it doesn't really matter because the setup is going to be the very same. So what you need to do is to have this domain, change the name service to Cloudflare once, and add one single CNAME record in Cloudflare. After that, you will need to configure the domain in ClickFunnels. So let's start, shall we? I have purchased the domain in GoDaddy for testing purposes, and my domain name is ourwaytosuccess.com. You will have to do that with your own domain name. So when we add a domain name to Cloudflare, no settings are being lost. So this is why I recommend you to have it also on subdomain, because when you change the settings to Cloudflare for the main domain, they are not being lost. So if you already have a website on the main domain and you add it to Cloudflare, you don't lose any settings for it. What we need to do in this case is to go to Cloudflare first. The domain name is cloudflare.com, so we need to go to cloudflare.com and create an account there. If you already have an account, just sign in and you will be taken to the page where you can add your website. For that, we need the domain name. We copy this and we paste it inside of Cloudflare. After that, we are going to be taken to step 2, and I strongly recommend you to read the information they are giving you, and because it is really important. And on the third step, you are taken to the plan selection page. You don't need any payment plan because the free one will also do so. By default, you are selecting the business plan. Please make sure that you select the free one because you don't need to pay for this functionality. After that, it is going to scan all the DNS records that you have in your domain register, and it is going to add them to Cloudflare. So if you had multiple records in your GoDaddy account, in this particular case, if you have a different domain register, it doesn't really matter. It is going to copy all the records from your domain register to your Cloudflare account. And this is how it is going to look like. Well, for example, in this domain name, I have not set up anything. It is just a basic domain name, so there are not very many records for it. After that, what we need to do is to continue, and this is a very important part. This is when we decide to change the name service. So the name service can be found in your domain register where you bought the domain. In GoDaddy, you just need to scroll and you will find them below the typical records. You will find the name service, and you can change them by clicking the change button. Here we have to select custom ones, and we have to enter whatever Cloudflare gives us. So it gives you 2 name service. You can copy them by clicking copy and paste them in your domain register account. If you have a different domain register, you just need to find the spot where you need to change the name service to the custom ones and enter the ones that Cloudflare is giving you. So after that, you click save, and it can take up to 24 hours, usually depending on the domain register, to kick in the changes. So if you have a domain register that requires you to wait 48 hours, you will need to wait 48 hours so that the name service are going to be changed. Right now, since I do that almost every day for test purposes, it is going to do that right away. And you can see that the name service have been changed right away. So it is going to not control any DNS records for you anymore, and you will need to do that in Cloudflare instead. So with this step, you transfer the DNS Manager zone to Cloudflare. After that, we click Continue, and in here we will find that the website is not active, and we can just recheck on it by clicking Recheck Name Service. Right now, since I have already added this domain to Cloudflare multiple times, it is going to activate it right away. In your situation, it might take longer, so it might take whatever time the domain register needs to activate those records, those name servers, and transfer the domain to Cloudflare. So don't worry if it takes you longer than a couple of minutes. It can really take that long. So in this case, what I'm going to do is to go to the DNS Manager zone, and in here we need to add one single domain record. So it will be the subdomain name I want to add pointed to target.clickfunnels.com. It will be the CNAME record, and let's say I want to create the subdomain of support.ourwaytosuccess.com. So really simple, just support and point it to target.clickfunnels.com. It is very important that you don't make any typos. So in here, you enter your subdomain name that you want to add to ClickFunnels, and in here, you always add target.clickfunnels.com. If you want to add email or ourwaytosuccess.com, you enter email here, but in here, nothing changes. You still enter target.clickfunnels.com. So in the first box, you enter the subdomain name you want to add. The second box remains the same, and it stays target.clickfunnels.com. After that, we click Add Record, and it is going to appear like that. Please note that there is not going to be an orange cloud here, so if you don't have it, don't worry. It is expected from this functionality. So this is basically it when it comes to the Cloudflare and GoDaddy setup. After that, what we need to do is to go to your ClickFunnels account and enter the domains. In here, we want to add this domain by clicking Add New Domain button. After we click this button, we are given a choice. The left choice will register a domain in ClickFunnels, so you will purchase the domain with ClickFunnels. We want to select the right box instead. We want to use an existing domain we already have. In this case, we delete the 3 W's and enter our domain name. The fastest way is just to copy it, and we need to enter support, because it is the subdomain I created, .ourwaytosuccess.com, and we click Add Domain. After that, it is going to ask us to connect our domain. How you connect the domain is really simple. It is via this CNAME record. So this single CNAME record is everything we need to connect this subdomain to ClickFunnels. It might take a little bit to connect this CNAME record, so whenever you create CNAME records or whenever you make any changes to the domain register or Cloudflare accounts, please make sure that you wait enough time for the changes to kick in. Sometimes when you add the CNAME record, it might take a little bit longer than, for example, a couple of minutes to activate it. Right now, we're going to click I've done this step, and it is going to show us that we did it. Great job, and it is connected. What we need to do is to click Just Show Me My Domains. We are going to be taken to the domain screen, and you can see that 2 of these domains are different. First of all, the status is secured for this one, and for the new one, we added it is verified, and the lock is not green. It means the domain is not fully set up. What we need to do is to enter the domain settings. In here, we'll find 2 important spots. First of all, the forward page and the full page, and the second spot is SSL. Let's deal with the default page. The default page is the page where people are taken when they enter the domain name you added to ClickFunnels. In this case, it is support.ourwaytosuccess.com. Whenever they enter this domain name, they will be taken to the page that you have selected here. If I want to connect my funnel, I can find the funnel here, and I will need to connect it to a funnel step. First comes the domain name, secondly comes the page name. So if I want to connect it to my first funnel, and I have created a test page for it, so here it is. I will want to click Save. And if I were to click on this subdomain name or enter it manually, support.ourwaytosuccess.com, it is going to take me to the funnels tab that I have selected here. It is a very important step. If you forget to do it, you will be taken to ClickFunnels.com when you enter the subdomain name. So please don't forget to set up the default page. When we set up the 404 page, it is recommended that you use the same page. Just select the same page and click Save. The 404 page is the page where people are taken when they make a small typo when entering your domain name. So if you have a dedicated 404 page that you can take them to, you can select it here. But generally, 99% of the time, you just select the same funnel step in the 404 page and in the default page fields. The last part of the domain setup in ClickFunnels is the SSL certificate. SSL certificate is crucial for the domain. You can add it by clicking Add SSL button. SSL is something that makes your subdomain or domain name secure. You can see, for example, in ClickFunnels that the domain is secure and it has this secure badge. The secure URLs always start with HTTPS. And without HTTPS or without the SSL certificate, you cannot process payments. You cannot use pages with high security requirements. And some of the content is not going to be shown on the page properly. So you need to implement the SSL. You can do that by clicking Add Now button in the SSL tab of the custom domain setup. When you do that, it might take 24 hours from you pushing this button to actually activate the SSL certificate. So it can take 24 hours after you push the button. You can check back on the completion of the SSL certificate by clicking Check Now button. And if it is ready, it is going to change the text to SSL is enabled for this domain. It will take seconds for me in this video because this subdomain name has previously been added to ClickFunnels account of mine, but with a real subdomain name, you might want to wait a little bit. So it might take really up to 24 hours to issue the SSL certificate. So if you click Check Now and nothing changes, it means the SSL is still not issued. So you will need to wait a little bit longer. When we go to the domain tab, after we have done all this, you can see that the domain has the green lock, which means it is secured with SSL and the status is secured. So it means that the domain is ready to go. So what do we need to do? The last step is to connect it to a funnel. What we need to do is to enter the funnel where we want it to be and connect it. So if we have already connected a domain name to it, we might want to change it to support.ourwaytosuccess.com and click Save and Update Settings. If we do that, you can see that the domain name actually changed to the one that we have selected. So whenever you want to connect a subdomain name, what you need to do is to go into the funnel settings and select the subdomain to connect it to. After that, scroll down to the bottom of the page and click Save and Update Settings. After that, all the URLs of the funnel steps of yours will be changed to this custom subdomain, and if you give it a test, always test it in incognito mode, you will be able to see that the domain name actually works. So subdomain name of ours will work just fine. So let me just load up the page real quick. So you can see that the page actually loaded just fine and it works just fine. When you do the setup for the domain, please make sure that you wait appropriate time. It is up to 24 hours after you connect the subdomain, and you give it 24 hours to actually kick in all the regions of the world. Because when you set up the domain right away, it might take a little bit longer to actually kick in the DNS records, change the name service, and just settle the setup on the back end. So when you test out the URL right away, please make sure that you give it some time to update all the information, and it is going to work just fine if you follow this video through. So just to quickly recap, what we did was to have a domain purchase. So you need to purchase a domain and connect it to Cloudflare if you want to. You can also bypass Cloudflare by connecting the subdomain directly, but if you already have a domain name with Cloudflare, it might be useful to just connect a subdomain also through Cloudflare. So if you want to connect the subdomain name through Cloudflare, you need to have a domain purchased. After that, change the name service from your domain register ones to the Cloudflare ones. And if you forgot to do that on the Cloudflare third step of the setup, you have to find them on the DNS page at the bottom of it. So you can find the Cloudflare name service always on this page. After that, what you need to do is to implement one single DNS record of subdomain name of yours and point it to target.clickfunnels.com. Make sure that the type is CNAME. And after that, what you need to do is to add the subdomain name to ClickFunnels, secure it with the SSL, set up the default page and a 404 page, and last but not least, add the subdomain name to your funnel in the settings of this funnel. I hope this video was helpful for you, and if you have any questions left regarding this subject, never hesitate and submit a ticket to our awesome support team by using this Get Help widget in the bottom right corner. Thank you.